Yep.
Welcome back to the G-Man Project, Volume 3. I am Garrett Parlett, your host, and now welcoming our guest, Mr. Travis Big Mac Berardi. Thank you, Travis, for joining us.
K-Mac Trav, I like to say, but hey, it's about time you got me on here. Was this episode 3? You got what? Who's ahead of me? Storm and Hayden? I mean, come on, man. Although this is the first episode where you have 2 offensive linemen on here.
Yeah, so if you want to pack the beef on here, we got it here on this show here today. Me and Travis are going to be breaking down what we learned in Week 1 in the high school football season. So let's get right into it, Travis.
Yep.
First, I'll start off with this one. I think Crestview is the cream of the crop in the Firelands Conference, and not only the Firelands Conference, but I think in the area. I think that they're probably the best team that you can see after Week 1. I think there's some teams that are in the shadows, and I don't know if they're going to be able to take that reign, but you never know. Cressy's got a tough schedule this year. Highland and Lucas, obviously. St. Paul's going to be a tough game down the line. And then this week alone, they're traveling out to East Knox. But they beat Lonvo 49-14. Addison Raymer, 21 carries, 124 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wade Bolin, 10 rushes, 34 yards, 2 TDs. And Hayden Kuhn, 203 for 2 touchdowns and a pick, 14.5 yards per completion, Trav. So what do you think about the Cougars this year? How far do you think they're going to make it, and do you think they're going to be able to run that Firelands Conference this season?
First off, he has to say this. He's a graduate of Crestview High School. But no, I've said this from the start. This is a team, the only people that can get into their way is themselves. If they get into their head, think they're, the hot stuff, they may falter. But, that one against Loudonville, that's check 1 off the list of teams that they're supposed to beat. I'm not going to go with East Knox. I found out that last year when they just completely steamrolled them and they wouldn't let me down after that. So I think they have the upper hand against East Knox. The Highland game, Dane Nauman ran for 300 yards, only 1 touchdown, but 300 yards against Fredericktown, who's supposed to be one of the better teams in the KMAC. So, that'll be a tough test for them. But I think Crestview, if they can continue to do what they're supposed to, they can knock off Highland, then that's going to give them some momentum. They just got to stay out of their own heads. They have to be focused week to week, and I think they're going to be good. But there is one other team that is 1-0 as well with a big win against Hopewell Loudon. That's Cary. Cary, I mean, they lost, multiple All-Ohioans, but they had a JV team that went undefeated last year. They have a bunch of talent that's back because most of the Cary's games last year were running clock situations where they got to play a second half against the varsity squad. So this Cary team, people weren't expecting them to be so good. They were expecting, I think, them to beat Hopewell Loudon, but not the way that they did. And, in my Country Roads rankings last week, I had Cary number 1. Until you beat them, right, they're the state champions, and they're 1-0 right now as well. And, I know Crestview chomping at the bit. Maybe we get that matchup to where the Cougars can finally get some revenge, but that's way down the line. But for Cary and Crestview, my top 2 teams in the Country Roads rankings, very impressive wins, but still, like you said, the Crestview Cougars, I think this is their year to do something special. And once again, if they can stay out of their own heads, if they can focus week to week, it might be something special for your squad up there in Olivesburg, Ohio.
Well, you mentioned Cary, Trav, and they reloaded this season, I think you could say already, because against a Hopewell Loudon team, then doing it the way they did, you mentioned 37-8, and I believe it was 9-8 at the end of the third quarter, some kind of score like that, and they went on to score like 30-plus points to win that one. So I think we might be seeing Crestview Cary. I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves.
No.
Both squads got a tough schedule. Crestview, they got multiple teams that are going to be playoff teams that they have to beat, to earn that respect. But I think Crestview, they're probably the favorite, and I think something that was kind of remarkable to me at least, St. Paul lost to Huron 41-7.
Yeah.
Which I know Huron was, we've been hearing some rumors that they were going to be a pretty solid team, but to lose in that kind of fashion, I thought St. Paul was going to be really the team that would pressure the Cougars in the Firelands Conference. But it's early in the season. It's still a long season, but let's move on, Trav, to that Clear Fork Lucas game, which was a very tough game.
That had to have been the game of the night.
Yeah, had to have been. You were there, weren't you?
Brian was. I was at Northmore. K-Mac Trav, not Big Mac Trav. You guys call me Big Mac. I'm K-Mac Trav. Maxton Lauer, 170 yards rushing. It was one of the other big rushing performances. But Brian and Andy were at that Clear Fork Lucas. 2 teams, it's not often that Lucas starts the season off 0-1, but that's a really good Clear Fork squad. I had Clear Fork. How about you mentioning Clear Fork? I remember a couple episodes ago you forgot about them a little bit, but the Colts, with the defense they have, Victor Skoog, that's Storm's BFF now out of everybody in North Central Ohio. But the way they were able to come back, Bob Wine Field is one of the hardest venues to play at. We talked about this on the podcast where, maybe more basketball venues, but you go into Lucas, the music's blaring, Clear Fork brought their own fireworks. I mean, we all had all that stuff, but the way they were able to come back, especially Lucas, a couple mistakes, a missed field goal, missed extra point that could have got them ahead, but the Colts came out with the 21-20 victory. Nothing against Lucas. They battled against a division, a D4 squad. Once again, you know, doesn't matter what division you're in, Lucas will come and fight you. Impressed by both sides. Clear Fork, you know, great win for them. They're going to get bonus points because Lucas, they're going to have a lot of wins this season. And for the Lucas Cubs, great learning experience. That loss is not going to really hurt them because they have other games where they can make up those bonus points and still get a top 3 seed at the end of the year.
I think it's a great loss for Lucas because I think it was kind of a barometer of how they stacked up. And, you know, against Clear Fork, the team, I mean, they were winning until, you know, for like the final couple minutes. So Clear Fork able to pull that one out. And we always talk about Clear Fork's going to be the great squad this year. And Lucas, they lost, 15, 16 seniors last year?
They always do, but they rebuilt just because the off-season plan that Coach Spittler has there, they play for a belt every week, things like that in the off-season. They're always working, and RPO, they get stronger over the off season, and all they have to do is just run people over, and that's what they do. But this year they're kind of moving it more to the outside too, running more sweeps. They can throw the ball. They have a great secondary, so they're opening it up a little bit more, which is just more beneficial. They're getting some of those athletes, not some of those bigger lineman guys like you and I were in high school, but they're being a little bit more athletic. They're not going away from the RPO, but they're opening it up with some other, you know, types of plays as well, which is going to help them in the postseason because we saw them, you know, they made the postseason, they make it a couple rounds, and then they run into a team that's more balanced, and it kind of hurt them. But this year, this squad's a little bit more, it reminds me a little bit of that state final team that lost to Marion Local in the title game because they have more options out there offensively and defensively. Yeah, and I think they have plenty of time to you know, flip the script, so to say. They got a Crestview team that they can go in and beat, as well as a Mogador team too. That's, you know, kind of traditionally a powerhouse. So they got 2 schools, at least that I know from their knowledge, on their schedule. They can go in and win that game and kind of flip the script for the year. But let's move on, Trav, to a little game I got for you. This is the little surprise. Oh, the surprise. This is the surprise I got for you. So we got 3 quick questions, Trav. We get you about 30 seconds each to answer these. Okay. Now, this one I think should be an easy one because it just happened. Okay. But I mean, it is a bit tricky. So just a quick, simple one, Trav. How old am I? How old are you? You are 22. Good one, Trav. Okay, I'm kind of impressed. I thought you might Taylor Swift. I don't know about you, but you're feeling 22. No, I remember last year. I think I bought you one of your first beers as 20. I'm 1 for 1. Unlike you on your birthday question game that Brian had during the podcast. That was you. Now, the George W. Bush one, that's a bit of a trick one because he was elected, but he didn't take office until the next year. Right. But other Destiny's Child, you guys, that makes me feel so old though, because I'm like, oh, that's Beyonce. Storm bailed me out on that one because I know. But did you go away with anything? No, because you didn't answer enough questions. The TV. The TV. We got the TV. Oh, you got the TV. This thing's beautiful, isn't it? You know, I have to compliment you guys on the set too. This thing's awesome. Thank you, man. You're very welcome. Hard work. 1 for 1. Let's go. Let's get into this. All right, Trav. What 3 NFL games did I attend last season? You were at Vikings Packers. Correct. Vikings Bengals. Correct. And the third one is eluding me for a second, but I'm 2 for 3. You wished you were at Vikings Steelers, but you weren't. I was not. You weren't, though. It was I'll give you the hint. I was out of state. It was not in Ohio. Storm's trying to help me out, and I can't read lips, so that stinks. Spooky. Oh, you're at the Halloween game. Cowboys. Yes. It was the Cowboys because their backup quarterback came and ran all over you guys. That's right. He came in. It was the Cowboys on Halloween. That's right. What a Halloween I had, getting ran all over by Cooper Rush. That's gonna be awesome. You went to 3 of your favorite NFL teams game. Trying to go again this year. I'm trying to go to Miami. Yeah. Vikes Miami. In Miami? Yep. Hard Rock Stadium. Stay at the Hard Rock in Miami. I was down there on vacation. That place is awesome. Yeah. You might lose money real quick though. The blackjack tables are not friendly. Right. All right, Trav, last one. Give me a half point for that because I had a little bit of help, but you know. I'll give you 2.5. That's a pretty solid score. Thank you. I'll take that. Yeah. You still got Nobody's one more. Perfect. You still got one more here, Trav. All right. What was the number that I wore in high school for the Cougars? I just told you this. You just told me this. Not only, might have been like when I first woke up, like maybe 2 hours ago. Crap. Was it the 60s or the 80s?
Neither.
Neither. It was in between, wasn't it?
It's in between.
70?
70.
Yeah.
It was 70, Trav. I just told you that too.
I know you
That's
did.
Why, that's why
I was
popped the
half
question.
asleep when I
That's why I
looked
popped the
at it
question.
too. Because we were gonna wear our jerseys, but he was not staying at home last night. He stayed with other family. So, maybe next time.
No, I don't care.
When I'm on episode 32, when you have me back, after so far. I'm kidding.
I don't carry the Cougs jersey with me. I got to bring it in here, but maybe we'll throw it up on the wall.
Yeah. My number has that as well, but it was single. I was 7.
It's kind of cool, Trav.
Yeah.
7?
Yeah.
I like 7.
Nice.
That's why I
Thank
went
you.
with 70.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. All right, well, that's enough of our blabbering here. That's going to do it here on the G-Man Project. Thank you once again, Travis,
Thank you,
for
sir.
coming in, and we appreciate you guys watching, me and the production team. Thank you, Storm, too, for coming in and helping me out. Keep it locked and loaded on the OH Work for all your live streams coming near you pretty soon. But for right now, we out.